This is fine. 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 This is a poor substitute for therapy, but an excellent substitute for other podcasts. We're not like other podcasts. Join us as we find the answers to the universe's biggest questions like, is butter a carb? Does crying burn calories? And what the fuck am I doing with my life? We're here to be your part-time therapist, astrologer, concierge doctor, and fairy godmother. Do you need someone to validate you today? Cool. Come on in. We're fine. This is fine. Hello, my pretties. You've found yourself in the celestial paradise that is our beloved podcast. We're bestowing blessings upon you today with a long-awaited astrological update. Today's episode is coming out April 12th, 2023. So this is a current and projected astro forecast from our cosmic weather woman and moon mother, Shannon Aganza. If you want to know what the hell's going on in the sky right now, you've come to the right place. We're getting into the energy, the backdrop, and the context of the era that we're moving into, what is called a nodal shift, with the lunar nodes moving from Taurus and Scorpio to Aries and Libra. It might be a little early, but this is kicking off our Hot Girl Summer Cosmic Forecast. And though we're at the end of Aries season right now, we're going to feel a lot of Aries energy on a personal and collective level going forward. All right, if you're ready, let's get into it. Okay, welcome back, Shannon. You know the drill. Are you fine today? Is everything fine in your world? You can be honest.
Yeah, everything's quite fine. Like Libra fine.
Yeah.
It's very fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, no, life is good.
Feeling
Just
fine.
Feeling the astro.
Yeah, a lot of astro shifting, would you say? Some
Shifting.
shifting context. That's basically the big topic today, right?
Well, what I'm looking at, what I would love to offer is a little bit of, how do I say that? Context of pulling inward, being able to utilize these sort of cosmic forces that are happening. Because that's the thing with astrology. You know, I will repeat it. I've probably said it 10 times already on here. But astrology is what is happening. It's not a belief. It's what is happening. You don't have to believe it to experience it.
Exactly.
And so many of us, even myself, where I know what's happening, I know the transits, but we go unconscious. And then it feels like it's happening to us rather than more working with it, being in the current of it. And so sometimes there are these really juicy moments where we could be utilizing the energy, and many times that energy, I think the most potent is when we're more receptive. Certainly we can use it to act. Like that is what most people, when do I do this? Like electing a date to
That makes sense.
the maximum benefit.
Like, what do I do with this information?
Right. And that's the thing. I think we have like a virus of gathering information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're in a wheel of people want to gather the information, but it seems that people don't want to take it. Not everybody, but it's like more information, more sensational, and looking for like, the big thing. But then they don't take it and integrate it, sit with it. What does this mean? Where am I in that?
Because integration can feel uncomfortable at times. I feel like we experience that when we're trying to process any kind of emotions, right? Instead of sitting and feeling those things, we want to go act and go do something because sitting is sometimes, and like you said, integrating can be challenging.
And yes, and integration is actually where the peace is. It actually is the place where it fulfills itself. If you're trying, it's more painful to me to keep gathering and then you're disappointed. Like, I thought this was going to be good and then I thought that would make this happen. But there's no fulfillment there.
Right.
Because you never get to the point because it has to be an inward, using the information, to even transition into wisdom and to become more at peace with self. And so the more we extend out, like we extend so much, but just like food, it needs to digest. Our body can't benefit from what we're eating if it's just
in out.
It's true. It's true. And so the laws are the same. Micro, macro, above, below.
Yeah.
They never change. And so this is one of those laws, you know. So what I'm looking at as far as what we are kind of currently in time, in the moment, and sort of transitioning, I'm kind of focused right now on Aries, the energy of Aries.
Right. And we're at the end of Aries season for anyone listening in real time as this comes out.
As far as the sun's trap through Aries.
Yes.
We're coming to the end of the sun's season in Aries. And we have some bigger energies also involved. And I just feel like right now the cosmos have us in training. We're sort of like in adult summer camp or child summer camp. It's for everyone, for getting used to Aries energy.
Okay.
And I'll go to the end and then trace back forward. So disclaimer, what does that even mean? Or spoiler alert, not disclaimer. Spoiler alert, the North Node is moving into Aries.
Yes, our direction, right?
That will be, North Node is like where we're headed, what we're moving towards, when we embody that point, that's where we are getting the most bang for our buck energetically, like when we just focus on those territories. And so collectively, we are all moving into Aries energy, where we're all going to have something to learn from Aries. We're going to be wanting to take in to digest Aries energy. And something that's helping us with that, like getting us prepped, because that shift changes July 17th of this year. So we will be clicked into North Node Aries, South Node Libra. And we'll get into that because they always work in tandem.
For context, the nodes have been in Taurus and Scorpio.
Yes, North Node, higher purpose, where we're heading, what do we need more of? Taurus. South Node Scorpio, what are we refining? What are we letting go?
Release.
What are we releasing? That's the other end of the digestive tract.
Yes, the pooping out.
The mouth is the north, and the pooping out is the south.
So that's been the past 2.5 years?
No. We went in January of 2022.
Oh, so that's much shorter than I'm thinking. I'm thinking
a year and a half.
I'm thinking Saturn.
Oh, all good.
Yeah.
Good. You know, there's so much to keep track of.
I'm a student just like you listening.
But that's good. You're thinking of it in those terms. It is a year and a half cycle.
Okay.
And then again, we've mentioned this before, but it adds more to this conversation and what we're moving into current times here. This is where the eclipses occur.
Right.
Are on the nodal axis.
The lunar and solar eclipses.
Yes, the lunar. And boy, we could just do a whole node
episode.
And just here's the astronomy of it.
Yeah.
I love the astronomy part for people who don't think they're science or math-minded. We are when we're looking at things like this. It's like, that makes sense. Okay, click. And then it's not mysterious.
Right.
And when you know, like, the nature motion and mechanics of these things, you understand it better for yourself.
Yeah.
Because, again, those same old pesky rules. They just, cosmic law is cosmic law.
Right.
Cosmic law, universal law, nature law. They're all
law of physics.
The same. Exactly.
I love using astrology as an access point to math and science.
It's the funnest.
Yeah.
And you know that. Like, that's another episode, History of Astrology.
Yeah. I need to write all of this down, actually.
They were astrologers, our first astronomers. That's what they were looking for. That's what was tracking them to learning all the science and the math.
I don't know if I sent you this meme or tweet or something, but it was like, hey, like, if you don't believe astrology, it's like not believing the weather. Like, they're just our cosmic weathermen.
Always. That's what I've always said too. It's just
like you don't have to believe it's raining, but it's raining.
It's raining. That's exactly. Like, you're going to check the weather before you have your outdoor party this weekend.
Yeah.
It's the same astrologically.
I'm just envisioning you dressed up like a weather woman on camera, just like pointing at constellations and planets. Just like with your beautiful blonde hair flowing.
This is not good weather for this. We have a tornado coming.
You've got like a Cleo Bella dress on.
That's great. I love it.
Iconic.
Yeah, that Angela would approve.
That's the vibe.
That's the vibe. So with this, again, getting back into the Aries, in the eclipses, we have our second new moon in Aries will be coming up. Actually, in a couple weeks from now, which actually I think is a week from when this episode airs.
Yeah, it should be.
So what's happening with that, we're starting that sort of transition, the shift. So, like I said, we have eclipses. And what do eclipses do? Eclipses accelerate things, accelerate the energy. Eclipses get things moving. And so we've been moving in the Taurus-Scorpio zone. Like, it has definitely been.
Yeah.
We don't need to recap. We all know what our lives have been.
And we do have episodes on this if you need to go back.
And we are still in it. We are still in it.
Technically.
But that eclipse, so a solar eclipse is a new moon. A lunar eclipse is a full moon. Mm-hmm. And solar eclipses we tend to feel in our body and our actual physicalness. And then the lunar we tend to feel more emotionally, like in our inner being.
In our feels.
In our feels. And so the beauty of this first eclipse in Aries for 9 years, because they flip-flop, whether you have south or north.
So 9 years from now, it'll be Libra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. North Node will be in Libra 9 years from now.
Okay.
See, math, nines, 18 months.
Yeah.
Look at 2 9s. And 9 years apart. It's cool. And every 18 years.
It makes so much sense.
Math.
There's so many patterns where I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Then you end up loving math.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Who would have thought?
Simple math. This is not complicated math. But so the thing of North Node, Aries, solar, our bodies, like that Aries energy, I always look at as the most like spirit infused physical. I work for a lot of athletes, a lot of like Olympic athletes. And like that's always a big part of them is that Aries component. Fire in general, but there's usually some juicy Aries thing going on.
Love that for them.
And that their bodies are capable of doing like superhero type things that we wouldn't think are normally available to us. Yeah. So we kind of get to all jump into that a little bit. And that is, I'll just say straight up, as we're cultivating, our toolbox for how do I deal with energy, around. We'll get a little hint when we get this first eclipse.
Okay.
In Aries of where my body is. If we do something literally on a physical, expressive level, it's like one of the greatest tools to vent that energy out.
Awesome. So like exercise?
Exercise. Straight up exercise.
Love
the
it.
other thing, muscles. Just building muscle tissue. Here's the thing that I'm cut without talking about the energy right now. Sorry, I'm out of order here. But
that's fine. We're here for it.
We're here at muscles. And so that's one of the things I was thinking about as I was driving down here of that theme. I haven't even themed out in my head. Where are we going? North Node Aries, South Node Libra in this particular cycle. And the thing that came in, it's so first we go to the South Node, which will be Libra. Mm-hmm. And what are the things we're refining? What are the things we're letting go? And it is, those who have codependency, tendencies, sort of that
like enmeshment almost with another.
Yeah, and just dependency that, and I'm just going to use the word, and we're I'm not saying this in a negative, it's just we're going to be very aware of where we place shame and blame on others for our plight.
Okay.
And
Rejection,
but also
projection, like you're projecting your own shame onto others, like they did this, it's their fault.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. And just and even outside of I'm doing this as an action, it just I think like kind of victim mentality, which there is authentic, legitimate victims in the world. Like, yeah, okay, this happened to you.
Right.
But I'm talking about our daily, like when we turn things into habitual energy.
Right.
We're seeing where within that we can take the wheel of our own life.
Right.
North Node Aries.
Can I practice this as a student for a second? So as you said that, I'm thinking, okay, this is something I've been working on where I've experienced a traumatic event, right? Something traumatized me at one point. And yes, that is part of the story of my life, but I don't want that to be a defining factor. I don't want everything to filter through that trauma.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I'm getting it.
So beautifully said.
Well, thank you.
Everything moving through that. Like that's exactly what I'm
right.
Sorry.
I don't want to lead with it, right?
Like, you don't want everything to funnel through that trauma.
Right.
And color everything else happening in your life.
Exactly. Wow. So that's a South Node in Libra lesson.
That is a South Node in Libra.
Oh my God, I've been doing my summer reading to prepare for the semester.
And so what we're doing is sort of refining, removing a bit of that enemy patterned thinking.
Right.
That, just even like within our individual self, but even within like our perception of the world. And at the same exact time, because again, these energies work equally together. The remedy is the other side, Aries. So it's balanced use of energy. It's courage. It's North Node in Aries is probably the most of all 12 signs, besides like we could go into Scorpio, which we're going to talk about because Mars
ruled sign,
is ruling the South Node.
Right.
And we'll then transition to ruling the North.
We're doing a flip-flop.
We're doing and it works on the other side
with
too.
Venus
has been ruling the North Node, Taurus, giving us that direction. And then it's going to switch to ruling the refinement. So we're in this really beautiful, Venus-Mars dance that's going on. And they're sort of switching roles. The way I look at that, Mars has been in Scorpio still, it's been a Mars-ruled situation. South Node, Scorpio. And what does Scorpio do?
Refines.
It composts.
Yep,
it composts. And it's like a poultice. So that is where our trauma lies. That is where whatever the dark is, that's where it falls into our little Scorpio container in our being, in our fields. And so
what lies beneath.
And the South Node hasn't been in Scorpio for 18 years. So we can even think like the last 18 years of our life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 18.
Of what's been, building. And so that it comes in and it's been helping to pull it up. Okay. So we're not expected. This is what I mean. If we don't have integration time, we just skip right over the good stuff. You know what I mean? If like the actual healing.
And nothing changes.
You can't, exactly. So you have more information, but it's more separating rather than integrating. So here we have this South Node helping to pull it all up. Mars is leading that. And then it's going to take us to what we do with it when we transition into that North Node in Aries.
Integration and then action.
And that feeling empowered.
Right.
Feeling, because Aries is also the warrior.
Yep.
Aries is that energy that can charge without fear. Like they just go in. And that's the same with these amazing athletes. If they were up like thinking with too much, a little dollop of or a couple dollops of Virgo are nice to have in an athlete chart. And I'm thinking of like the people that I have that are like they're the action sports doing really crazy,
right,
stuff. Not your football player and your basketball player, but like those other ones that are doing like insane, like the motocross people,
right,
and the snowboard, all those
jumping out of airplanes, doing backflips on snowboards.
Yeah, exactly. That the Virgo is nice to add refinement, but Virgo is in service. It's actually the ideal because Virgo is not supposed to be leading the show.
Right.
Otherwise, people would take 2 steps ahead, 1 step back. It's, and that's why our charts have all these energies to choose from. And we have all 12 signs available to us all the time. That's the other part of this, that with the nodes changing, everybody gets to amp that area of their life up, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
That's where eclipses will be in the houses. So that's where you harvest, where do I need more courage? Where do I need to take the reins? Or where do I get to take the reins? And so that's, you look at your chart and you're going to look at the houses, the polarities, because it's always in polarity, that Taurus and Scorpio hold, and that Aries and Libra hold.
Right.
So it will be going, and it will appear to be going backwards because that's how
they move in a retrograde pattern.
Yeah. So if the north, if the north node is occupying, if you have Taurus in your third house, you're going to go from third house. You're going to go from third house subjects to second house.
Okay.
Not third to fourth.
And we will have an extra episode on the houses, which you can listen to after this. I'm guessing within the next couple of weeks, we'll produce it as quickly as possible. But if you need a refresher, either go to Shannon's Instagram at Moon Gathering. You can go to her website, moongathering.com, or hang tight. I would say do both of those things. Hang tight for the houses episode if you need a refresher.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that really is the way to integrate astrology when you're learning, instead of this is what everybody's experiencing. Take a moment and study your own chart and go into your own, where am I feeling this? And so to me, integration only hurts, is only painful when you haven't been doing it. Once you start, it might be a little tight to get in. But once you get in and you do it regularly, that's actually your place of comfort. It's not hard. It's actually easy. It can be easy. You just have to get into the process of going in. I think people the more out you are, the more you're searching out of yourself, the more uncomfortable it might be at first.
Right.
But that's where the magic's happening. And so this is perfect, actually, because that's another level that where the nodes are right now through summer, through July 17th, Taurus is all about just sit. That's why, it's having your meal that you're chewing slowly, enjoying. You're not missing the juiciness of the moment, like when we're doing Taurus things.
Right. It's slow.
It's slow. And so we still have a few more months to really have a tutor.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's the way these energies work. We get more bang for our buck when we do the energy that is available. Because once it goes into Aries, the vibe is different. It is a different
It's very
vibe.
different.
And so we can look at, this is a good time to explore where do I feel held back by the enemies in my life? I mean, enemy can be from, someone in your immediate circle to the government. You know, it's it doesn't matter. You just look at those things that make you feel paralyzed, or I'm not doing this because of these other things.
Could an enemy be an inner demon kind of thing, where it's I'm holding myself back?
Well, that's the goal.
Oh, cool.
Is you get to that.
Okay. Sweet.
And again, I don't expect all problems to be solved through everything's my fault. And it's moving past the, oh, I'm a piece of crap. Because that's the thing that South Node and Libra will maybe bring those feelings up of
Got it.
oh, I feel so bad and guilty. I can't believe they were doing this to me. Oh no, I was doing it to them. And you're still paralyzed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's that middle workable ground where it's just feeling relief. The point of this is feeling relief and I can, even if I'm moving myself away 1 inch from what has been ailing me, by my efforts, what I did, it's to feel empowered. We don't have to solve all the problems. We just have to have some area in our life where we have a level of sovereignty, autonomy.
Yeah, love that. Big theme for us, sovereignty.
Yeah. Before it was co-opted.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
word, I was like, no, they can't have that word.
Don't take that word from me.
Don't take that word. No.
It's mine.
It's mine. It's ours.
This is mine.
And that's the whole thing. That is a thing, even in the bigger picture.
Right.
No, when we're sovereign, we're coming from our own energetic place.
Yep.
And
It's such a beautiful divine word, I think.
It is.
When you look at it that way.
And here's the thing. When you are sovereign within yourself, this is my perspective. When you're sovereign within yourself, you're balanced. You're at peace, looking at yourself through the lens of not right, wrong, but just this is where I am. I'm owning. It's owning who and what you are without deprecation.
Right.
Just, this is where I am, which takes us to Aries. Aries statement, I am. That is what it is. That's why it's so, I look at it as such a holy energy. I'm getting this rush of goosebumps just even saying it. Because it's in that space where you are before you've been colored by your childhood or
the world.
When we're looking at it from an evolution perspective.
Yeah, it's fresh.
It's fresh. I am. And trying to come back to that state of being and live in a world of imbalance, because that's the thing. South Node, Libra.
Balance. Right.
Imbalance.
Okay.
So the imbalances are coming into balance. So you
Beautiful.
see the theme.
Yep.
And so we know, we go to the Aries, it's in the most micro level, it's I can do something right now to make this minute easier. That's what we're going to. Cool. So whether it's whatever tools you have, I can choose to eat this rather than eat that. I think the body is a great place to track Aries energy. Like I said, it's it will give you the immediate response. That's why I like too, just by putting a barbell in your hand or anything where I can go on a walk. I can do that if you're, bodily able to do that.
Right.
I can close my eyes. I can focus on light, whatever. Right. There's something always, do you know what I mean? These are little subtleties, but it's that moving into the self, the inner
getting
self.
into your body.
Getting into your body.
Yeah.
And then what happens, and this would be the thing that, I'd be observing in your world, where is my consciousness? Okay, now I feel my body. I feel where I'm sitting.
Right.
I'm here, but where's my consciousness? Is it still thinking over there or over these other? And it's about pulling the consciousness into yourself, into your being.
Okay.
And then you look out into the world from there. You may still feel the same about it, but you won't having the same agitation. Do you know what I mean?
More peace,
but then ready for action. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so you're not going to battle in the world, because that is Aries.
Maybe you are. I don't know.
But, the way you would do it would be from a better placement. You're not looking to just be right. So here's the shadow of Aries would be the ego. I'm right and there's nothing else and I don't see anybody else's view. South Node, Libra. Okay, where am I not seeing other people's, views or perceptions that I might benefit from? So there's the other side of it. So this is what I mean by the more you are in yourself, wait a minute, how did I take that belief in? Is that something I heard from somebody else and I accept it as my own truth? So that's another evolution that we're moving into here, is identifying our own thoughts like how I came up to, how does this feel to me? Even if it's some great, like learned person or master of this or that, or some guru or somebody, you still have sovereignty, and you still, even if they're a good leader,
yes,
they will say, run this through your own,
right,
your
own processes.
Exactly, to see if this is truth or not truth.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You can have something not resonate. That's like, well, everybody else likes it. Why don't I like it? But you're coming at it, and that's where the peace and the calm, it's an embodied.
Yeah.
That's the best way to probably say it.
I love that. That's such an important thing. I think a lot of us, well, whether it's, I don't know, a political leader or a health space leader or a guru, like you're saying, you like a lot of what they're saying. You really identify with a lot of what they're saying or who they are. And then you start to think everything they say is like Bible. Like it's the universal truth. And I've had to remind myself, like, okay, like I really respect this person, but they're not God. Like it's not like every word that comes out of their mouth is the ultimate truth.
Exactly, because most people, like even the bad, and I say this about myself too. Like that's why I say get a reading with somebody else too. Like you don't just have to work with me. Like I still want you to run it through, and I'm not offended if it's like that doesn't fit for you right now or anytime. Like that's okay. That's because we all are on our own growth patterns. We're all on our own evolutionary paths, and everything is accelerated right now. Like we can feel it. And so it's good to know where you're coming from within yourself. And if there's a little moment of discomfort, this is the beauty of Aries. And this is where, like, we can really practice this out, now. In fact, it'll be easier now in some ways to go, oh, okay, I'm just going to get that discomfort. But walk with it. Like, don't feel like I just have to sit here and take it. You can move your body, go for a walk, go for a run, but let the energy, keep focusing on the energy. And it gives it a place to go until you feel safe. But the things that we have right now, so the things training us for this Aries energy that we are in time with, well, we've just, had some good Aries. We're still in Aries sun, which the sun is exalted. It's
good place for the sun.
Really good place. That's why I think the sun is exalted in Aries. It's just a phenomenal expression of pure light energy, pure light soul energy when it is embodied. Because that's the thing. We're here. That's my thing too. And people, different meditation techniques and trying to leave. And now it's like, you have a body. Like we're supposed to be doing this in here. Trust me, I'm Pisces moon. Like I know how to split the scene. Yes. And the body's still there.
You're like, I'm a head out spiritually.
Head out. You'll see a little glaze on my face. I have a very reliable autopilot that will respond to your every
Oh my God.
I'm gone.
Bye.
But it's so through learning like that, I've learned this too. Like, oh no, we're supposed to be bringing this energy in here.
Yes, to interact and engage in this plane.
Yes, exactly. So we've got the sun shining light on that. We had the benefics join at the beginning of March in Aries. We had Jupiter, Venus join in Aries. So that was the two beautiful benefics coming together and it's like a once a year thing, but it happened in Aries this year. We also have Jupiter in Aries.
Yep.
So that's sort of like that bigger,
for like another month, right?
Through May. I think is it May 11th?
I think we've got like almost exactly a month from when we're publishing.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, that's even more energy to focus on. And then we have Jupiter Cazimi, which will be, we're kind of sort of in the energy a little bit, coming right off of it right now.
So Cazimi, can you define that for beginners?
So a Cazimi happens with the sun. It's only going to be a solar event. And whenever a planet comes up to the sun, there's this place called under the beams that when it's within this 10-degree orb, we literally can't see it. So we're looking, it's like the planet is in old school terms, we say it's combust. It's combustion. It's burnt by the rays.
Whoa.
And we can't see it.
Okay.
But then there's this little moment where and the different schools will use different orbs. Some people will use a whole entire orb. I'm old school, like 17 minutes.
Okay.
Within 17 minutes of orb, it's in the heart of the sun. The planet's in the heart. So it's a very special placement. So it has that light. It's protected, kind of like, I guess, hurricane, right? When you're in the eye of the storm, it's very calm right in the center.
Right.
And all that. So things to think about, like it's not going to come into visibility. So this is another one of those things. It's just we can see it with our eyes. Whenever we don't see a planet. So Mercury is combust a lot, because it's so close to the sun all the time.
Yeah. So Jupiter's only like once a year.
Right.
Okay.
Because, of the sun's.
Right. It spends like a year in each sign-ish. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that makes sense. Yeah.
So, and this is a little bit different because Jupiter's moving really quickly, these last few signs. But we have Jupiter going into the heart of the sun gives us this sort of, my bigger, vaster self, that Aries energy. It's happening, the greater benefic.
Right.
Going into the heart of an exalted sun.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Supercharged.
Supercharged and beautiful. And it is a time like, think of it energetically like putting rain barrels out. Like if you live in a place where you don't have.
Well, if you're in Southern California, you got a lot of it lately.
We got a lot of it. We got some full, it's the same buckets.
Yeah.
But it's like that you can use for later is how I always like to do that. Nice. Like a way you can do that literally. Stick a crystal out. Well, we will have passed the moment as of now, but
do it anyway.
We'll try to throw that out there in the world beforehand. But you can take, that energy, you gather it. But what's happening is as we have this invisible Jupiter, it's like we're kind of resetting, not seeing the big, loud planet allows us, again, to go in within an Aries context. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Which is so outer.
Yeah.
So we're in a completely encapsulated in our physicalness, can feel maybe even sensation in our being, but expanding, looking at our bigger life. Like, where do we want to take our bodies? Where do we want to take ourself? But we need to know what really matters to us. The North Node is still in Taurus. That's been what Taurus has been trying to teach us. So South Node's been telling us, what's the crap I need to let go of?
Right, literally.
What's really bothering me? All those mysteries, the unsolved things. Mm-hmm. So we still have a little more of that. So it pulls that up so we know what to do with it. When
pulls out the bodies.
Pulls up the body. Exactly. It's like, oh, okay. I thought that was well hidden. And then we're able to, like the Venus part, Venus is teaching us what matters to us, what we really need, like what really, like you're a great example of that. Like,
thank you.
Under North Node Taurus, like, well, these are things I really want to do, or where do I want to live? What do I really want to be when I grow up?
Where do I want to be?
But what makes me feel good, like on a sensory level.
Right.
So it's finding all of those things. Like it's teaching us. So then, okay, as we go into the next cycle, it's not so hard. Like we're able to do something with it. So here's another way. If we look at it elementally, we're in earth and water.
Right.
In and down.
Yep.
We're moving into fire and air, up and out.
Young.
We absorb and then we get to do something.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we're not doing from a
like a yin place.
No, we're not doing from an unconscious place is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
We need to understand our wiring. So this is another thing that's going to be really, I'm excited about, I hope, that we have big advancements in the brain, like literally our nervous system, our brains, like how all that works, how
Cool.
those things connect, how we can disconnect and reconnect. It's literally the brain
Cool.
is Aries. So we're getting sort of this time out of time right now, and then Jupiter becomes visible again on April 26th. It will be out from under the beams of the sun so we can see it.
Okay.
Isn't that beautiful too? That's how
Yeah.
bright the sun is, that it's 10 degrees of
being cloaked
astronomical
in sun.
measurement.
Yeah.
That's how bright the light is.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that cool?
And then Jupiter's going to mosey on over to Taurus. So it's
Then
kind
it
of doing
will-
a flip with the nodes.
Yep, exactly. And then the other thing, too, is we have right after the eclipse in 29 Aries, so we get a little taste. And this is interesting. I've never heard of this, but this is going to be a hybrid eclipse.
Right. It's like 2 Mars eclipses, right? We've got Aries and Scorpio.
No, hybrid meaning will be a total eclipse in some places and an annular eclipse in other places.
Oh, like geographically.
Yeah. So it's like
Oh.
and I think it's it's like that Northern Australia, that area
Interesting.
will get a total eclipse.
Okay.
The light will be
Out.
gone.
Yeah.
So they will feel it
Okay.
more intensely, where other people on the planet will still see some of the sun. It's not totally clear.
Okay.
But that's like an unusual thing. And
Yeah.
it's sitting at 29 degrees.
Aries.
Aries.
Yeah.
Mars is going to be debilitated. I believe Mars will be in Cancer,
Oh, yeah. It's still going to be in Cancer.
which I don't look at that as negative. I kind of
Right.
can also look at that as, okay, it's pulling us in. It might keep us from pressing the blow the world up button.
Yes.
That's what I mean by too much Aries. Could screw you, blow the world up. Oops.
Oh, so it's
I should have
tempering.
thought about that before I pressed the button.
Press the nuclear button.
Before we,
Yeah.
of our own life.
Yeah.
Like out of ego.
Okay.
That's probably I'm like saying a whole lot of words, but that's kind of what I
No,
mean.
it makes a lot of sense. I feel like the Mars in Cancer might be tempering a little bit too.
Tempering.
The
And-
electric live wire Aries eclipse energy.
Exactly. And then the day after, Mercury is going to go retrograde.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yes.
in Taurus. And so again, in the sign where we're nearing the end of our what can we get out of Taurus?
Right.
So our mind is surveying the expanse of where do I need to rethink this? What did I miss
Right.
the first time? I was looking over there and I should have been looking in.
Okay.
Why am I so triggered by this? That's probably the best question to just always when you're, it's like, why am I so triggered by this?
I love that. I'm actually going to write that down and add that into the episode description for your mantra for this episode and maybe for the next couple of months. Why am I so triggered by this?
And that will definitely be, I think, a Mercury retrograde in Taurus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is, again, starting to shift us into our next expression of that Aries. And Aries is the trigger sign. You know?
If the word triggered doesn't feel right to you, just notice when you have a really strong emotional reaction to something that maybe someone else wouldn't have as strong of a reaction to. I know that a lot of words right now feel charged and people have very strong opinions about certain words. So it applies to everyone regardless of the vocabulary you're using.
Why do I have a physiological response to this?
Yes.
Is that safe to say?
Why am I crying? Why am I sweating? Why am I raging?
So there are the ones with, I think, too, in the theme moving ahead, where, yes, why am I and nobody else is having, but also, wait, why am I pouring into the storm of everybody else's doing this? Whoa, stop and think.
Yeah, I'm getting caught up in the storm.
Getting caught up in the storm.
Right.
Exactly. So both of those. Mm-hmm. It's both. And then at the end of the day, why am I getting caught up into the storm? It's well, what's wrong with, what's not tracking with me?
Right.
And that's the thing. If you're not feeling, we've talked about this. Sometimes striving for neutral is the best.
We love striving for neutral in this household.
Because it's from there you can pivot
Right.
the most easily.
Yep.
So that it's like trying to get into that.
It's like what you were talking about with Aries, like where you get to this kind of peaceful place before you act.
Yes.
Like getting to neutral is really nice. That equanimity, I think, saves you from the extremes of emotion.
Exactly. And if peace, like I understand for some people, peace might feel soft, you could just even use either the word peace or clear.
Yeah. It's neutrality, right?
Clear.
Yeah.
Clarity.
I love clarity.
Clarity is the starting point. If you get to clarity, and here it is, clarity doesn't mean, oh, this is good or this is bad. It's like, it just is what is.
It is.
It is. Okay, now I can more appropriately move to get the best bang for my buck,
Right.
Going forward.
I feel like, again, that fits with Aries. It is, I am.
Yes, exactly. And, my guess, this is just the speculation, but like Mercury going retrograde in Taurus, we still think of Taurus as goods, things,
Right.
stuff. And Mercury's systems of transportation. So there might be glitches.
Oh, yeah. I don't think a lot of people know about that as much. Mercury is transportation. I think a lot of us talk about like it's communication, it's the mind, it's your thoughts, it's your writing and reading, but it's also short term or like short distance transportation
it's
or all?
Anything.
Okay.
It's getting from one place to the other.
Planes, trains, automobiles, skateboards.
All of it. Feet.
Yeah, your feet.
Hands if you're...
Yeah, if you're Stella, I guess.
If you're Stella or handstand.
Yeah, if you're doing, what's it called? Parkour.
Yeah, exactly. It just, it's transmission of getting something from one place. That's why also that is communication.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the core.
Cool.
Energy. So we may see little things like that. So it might bring up issues of security, Taurus is security, stability, and that's where I go back to like, okay, Aries is like, I don't even, like if your money's disrupted, Taurus is money, getting the money in your pocket. It's like, well, I can do something right this second to make myself feel better, to feel better, to be better. I can go breathe air. I can take some breaths. I can do something. That's the whole, it's like it's the do sign.
Yeah. Would you say that's a good exercise for someone to do right now? Like write down like your tools. What can you do that makes you feel better? Even just like the act of thinking about it or writing it down, whatever like medium works for you, then you can kind of refer back to it when you're ready or when you're feeling not ready. Oh, what was that list? I don't feel good right now and I can't even think about what is going to make me feel better in this moment. Oh, here's my little list. I forgot that I really do like going outside with my dog. I don't know. Bad example, but you know what I'm saying.
It's simple.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah.
There might be, some affirmation. Like it is good time to get those affirmations in and get the default thoughts out.
Right.
A good thing too, I remember doing this, oh my gosh, so many years ago, and trying to like reprogram the mind that you just have a default thought. Like it could be, I am safe and protected, or I am clear, or something, whatever it is that works for you, that because you will find when the mind just starts going, I mean, what is it? Some insane amount of thoughts we think a day.
Oh God, don't ask
me. And most of them
are just like 80 billion.
it's an insane amount.
Yeah.
And so what you can do when you catch yourself, that's the consciousness part. I'm catching myself. So you put a default thought in there, like of whatever it is, some corrective thought,
You're, what's the word I'm looking for? Not manually. Analog. You're doing an analog plug where you're putting your own thought in there just to disrupt those patterns.
Exactly. And so I know like this, well, I said it at the beginning. It's like, this is, what can we do that we get, the best fulfillment, growth, utilizing astrological
Yeah.
energies. So even though we're not talking about like a lot of astrology, it is.
This is what it is.
This literally are the context of
Yeah.
the astrological energies right now.
It's beautiful.
And so again, or you could just be unconscious and just zip right through.
Bopping around.
Yeah. And, again, the energy's going to happen. But even if you just one time you responded differently or you went in a different direction or like having a craving for something.
Yep.
Like, me? Is this my thing?
Who, me?
Sugar? Well, when I say sugar, I do healthy sugar, but it's still sugar.
Shannon does the good stuff. She's not like the rest of us.
Well, but copious Libra here.
Oh,
copious amounts of,
My Libra moon sees you, acknowledges and honors the sugar in you.
Oh my God, the amount of raw honey that goes in this body.
I ate so much of that the other day.
Oh my God, it's so good. So I might choose something different. Like just today, one time, I'm going to live and survive if I skip my tablespoon of honey in the morning or whatever I'm doing, or whatever it is. But just doing it once opens the door for you to see other things, So
all of this is a tool and an opportunity for you to grow and feel happier and more at peace. It just comes down to what you want to do with it, if you're ready to work with it. If you want to work with it, this is something that's just available to you, whether someone says it's real or not.
Right. And just I would have you pull your chart up and take a look at where Aries is in your chart.
Let's use Dan as an example. Dan is a Libra ascendant.
Oh, okay. So partnerships, relationships are refining.
Yep.
So that's going to be a major territory, connecting.
So one-to-one
bringing
partnerships.
It one-to-one. So it's not just romantic or marriage, but it's even like client work.
Right.
When you're working, one-to-one.
Yep.
The Libra will bring it in and will help refine who am I going to work with? Libra, because a Libra ascendant says the door's open
to everybody.
Everybody. Oh, I have to adjust myself to everybody because Libra is the acquiescer. And so there's refinement in that to ensure, oh my gosh, these are the clear, no bull cockadoo. I don't know. Can I say what word?
You can say whatever word you want. No bullshit.
No bullshit.
Yeah. But thank you for your mindfulness.
So that would be a thing to
be
thinking about. Like, no, and it's okay. Like I have permission. Like I can give myself permission to just have really clear agreements. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, clarity around the relationship
agreements and contracts. So it's an uptick in signing contracts.
Okay.
So those can be clients that signing. And I want the people who know what they want. I don't have to figure it out for them. They're very clear.
Yeah. We're not doing a dance around budget.
It's like, this is it.
Totally.
Exactly.
Love that. I hope you're listening right now, Dan.
And so the perfect thing with that too is you said the budget word. Budget goes with Taurus, money.
Yep.
It's in the 8th house, trying to get like, come on, put your big pants on, and it's okay to set boundaries.
Right.
And it will work out.
Sometimes legal boundaries with those contracts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes so much sense.
And it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Like it just makes everything clear.
Yeah. I love that.
So that's a really good example. Yeah.
Good job, Dan. You're a great example. I love it.
That's great. Yeah. And I think like as far as what's coming up, like that would be the main vibe.
The vibes for Hot Girl Summer.
Because then, the next eclipse after that. So this is something kind of cool too. I'll just end with this, that we kind of get, like I feel like cosmically we're getting buffered, because usually you might have on one end of the eclipses, we have like a transition one. I call it the liminal space ones, where we're in that in between. So we're getting this Aries eclipse, even though the nodes are still in Taurus, Scorpio. When we come out of it on the other end of it, our first eclipses are going to be, when we are in Libra, Aries. That first one, we're going to get we're going to get a Scorpio, Taurus.
Right. We have a Scorpio full moon eclipse. That's the lunar eclipse, right?
That's the one coming up.
Or solar eclipse is the full moon, right?
No.
Oh, opposite.
Full
okay, I got it right the first time. So our lunar eclipse on Cinco de Mayo.
On May 5th, we go back to Scorpio rules.
Right.
Scorpio, I always say Scorpio Taurus because it is, the sun will, it's that sun moon thing. And then when we change signs, the nodes will be the first eclipse. Our first solar eclipse is going to be on October 14th.
In Libra.
At 21 Libra.
Okay.
But then this is where I'm saying the transition. The second one, the lunar eclipse, is going to be in Taurus.
Okay. So we're going to have 2 Mars lunations in the spring and then 2 Venus ones in the fall.
Right. Well, that doesn't, no. We're thinking a sign. Yes,
Okay.
but it's signs.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see it.
So we get a little buffering.
Yeah.
So it isn't such a hard landing.
Right, into the next nodal.
Into the next nodal axis.
Okay.
So we're transitioning out of one.
Okay.
And we get to transition into it, which I
Okay.
think we need. It's not that I think, it'll just make life easy. It's one of those things, those corrective measures where I think on a cosmic level, it's like, so it helps us do the other really hard shit happening.
Yeah.
That, which we'll get into that, later.
Yes.
But it just, so you want to utilize it, don't sit back on it.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying peak up, do the work, show up, do work, and always like on self. So this is, again, South Node moving into Libra. If only they did this and they did that, and it's because of them and all of that, like you're going to get your butt kicked hard if you are not willing to see your part in it.
Yep.
Even if this is where the codependency comes up. If it means extracting yourself from the relay, it's like you are in control.
Right.
If this is uncomfortable, you either, what is it? Heal or deal.
Yeah. Feel it or
walk.
Heal it or what was it? You were going to do a show on this.
Yeah. Heal or deal.
Heal or deal.
that was it.
No,
yeah.
it's such a good thing to point out because I think sometimes we can be in a misery of our own making that we're unaware of.
We're unaware of, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, and it's like there's no need to feel shame.
That's the part we're refining.
Yeah.
There's no shame. Like it's liberation. You can't, you have, okay, there it is. We weren't this particular Western culture here anyways, it does not foster learning, growth slowly through making a mistake.
Right.
Especially now. It's like, see, I have like amnesia. It's like, oh my goodness, we are in such massive cancel. It's actually softening, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Is that my...
Cancel culture?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen as much of it lately either. I'm hoping we're shifting toward more empathy concurrently with accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not one or the other. It's awareness.
Yes.
And acting properly moving forward.
Yeah, exactly.
And having an opportunity for reparation.
Opportunity for growth, reparation, healing, change. I love watching people's character arc in that way. If they have the capacity for change and they learn and they do something with that, like we're talking about integrating, I think that's beautiful.
So there. So
on that note.
I know, that's funny. So esoteric today.
I know.
Didn't expect that.
Different direction.
Aries.
I know, right?
We didn't know where we were going when we started, and here we are.
We were like freewheeling the whole way.
But I had it, it's just like, people need to understand how to use this energy.
Yeah, I knew it was going to come out of you, so I was not worried. So we covered so much territory. I also want to say I promised to deliver a Mercury retrograde explainer episode sometime in that time period because Shannon and I have been talking about this for a while. Mercury retrograde is not as scary as it's made out to be in pop astrology. It happens like almost half the year sometimes, right? Like 4 times a year.
3. So we have 3 3-week periods of time.
There you go.
where it's retrograde. But then we have the front shadow and the back shadow.
Exactly.
So it's 9 times 3 is half the year, basically.
Yeah, 27 weeks is more than, it's about more than half the year, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's somewhere around that. That's approximating.
So there you go.
So we're in that energy. That's the same thing with the outer planets, Jupiter on anyways, being retrograde.
Right.
Like they're retrograde almost half the year.
Yeah. So it's pretty neutral in terms of...
it's a natural part of flow. It's not a deviation.
Yes. And we'll get more into that in an episode targeted around retrograde Taurus Mercury.
Would love to do.
Yeah, finally, right? It's been on our agenda for a while.
Yes, and just Mercury retrograde in general.
Yep.
And then the Taurus. Yeah.
Yep. We'll give a little like seasonal flavor, but it'll be an evergreen lesson.
Love it. We need this.
Oh my God, Shannon, as always, we are so grateful for you. Our commander-in-chief, our chief spirituality officer, chief goddess. I don't know what title to give you yet, but it's one of those. We love you.
I'm just an advisor.
Spiritual advisor, our trusted confidant and fearless leader. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you.
Love you too. I love you.
Okay, before we sign off today, we have our final segment of the show. This is mine, my pick of the week. And as you may have guessed, it is Shannon's astrology school through her community Moon Gathering. Go to moongathering.com to sign up for Astrology Foundations 1 if you're a beginner or you need a refresher on the fundamentals of your astro education, and sign up for Astrology Foundations 2 if you're ready for the next step. The Astro Foundations 1 course is available as a pre-recorded course on her site, or you can take it live online as a boot camp over the course of 10 days. It will begin Thursday, April 20th at 6 p.m. online, at 6 p.m. Pacific, and it ends with the last class on Monday, April 30th at 6 p.m. Pacific as well. All of that information and more is available via the link in the episode description. This is Fine listeners. My beautiful members of this community, Shannon is offering you over $100 off the course with the code THISISFINE, all caps, one word. The original price of this course is $444, $444. For you, it will magically become $333 with the use of your TIF code. Remember, this is fine, all caps. This is such a special, incredibly generous gift to our podcast family. So a huge thank you to Shannon for all that she does for us. We love you. And if you're listening now and on the fence about signing up, do it. Take class with me. Whee! All right, go forth. Enjoy the sovereign Aries vibes. Own your personal power. Do a workout. Be an Olympic athlete if you want. And we'll see you here next week, my loves. A bientôt. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of This Is Fine. I've been your host, Dominique Michelle Astorino. We're based in San Diego, recording in studio at DLI Productions in Pacific Beach with Emmy Award-winning sound designer Dan De La Isla. This is a comedy and advice podcast, but for legal reasons, this entire podcast is a joke and none of it is medical advice. To download a transcript or learn more, visit thisisfinepodcast.com.